back to banning of media organisations. I'm pleased to say that I'm joined by Andrew RT Davies, leader of the Conservatives here in the Welsh Parliament. Welcome to the programme this evening.
Good evening, Nigel. Great to see you in Cardiff.
Yeah, well, do you know, we were in Newport just the other week, and we were in Port Talbot not long before that, so we are bringing GB News to Wales as much as we can.
All great places, but as you said in your introduction, Cardiff is the best city in the UK. Not just Wales, but the UK.
Well, that's what these people think. So,
well, big cheer, big cheer.
Very good. No, I hadn't planned to come to Cardiff. It wasn't on the rota this quickly. But I'm afraid that Edin Jones from the Welsh Parliament, the Senedd, has brought me here. What on earth? By the way, we did write to Mark Drakeford about the fact the channel's been banned inside the Parliament, and he said nothing to do with me. Well, it's true. Actually, directly, this isn't... I mean, we may blame him for other things, it's possible, but we can't blame him for this.
How long have you got?
You'll get your chance, don't worry. Yeah, this wasn't directly him, but he could have made a comment. Andrew, what is going on when GB News, which is an established brand, both on radio and television, growing quickly, often beating other rivals, have we been wrapped on the knuckles by Ofcom? Did a stupidity occur on the channel a few weeks ago? Yes. And in what organisation don't stupidities occur? But what is going on when we get banned?
GB News took swift action when that comment came. They dismissed the person who made those comments, and that was the right course of action. But you said in those remarks there, he has said nothing. And neither of the other leaders within the Welsh Parliament said anything other than myself. It's about choice, it is, at the end of the day. You don't have to tune into GB News. No. You don't have to buy the Guardian newspaper. But we live in a democracy, and I'm wearing a poppy today, and that shows our remembrance, our act of remembrance for people who fought so that we could maintain democracy and maintain choice. And in a democracy, you have to have plurality of the media so people can choose the views that they want to buy into.
So what is the
ban
mindset?
That in the Welsh Parliament.
So what is the mindset, Andrew? I mean, you know, by the way, we did invite Edin Jones onto the show. We got no answer at all. But
busy doing her hair, no doubt.
Yeah, well, maybe. What is the mindset? What is the mindset?
Well, it's about control at the end of the day, because obviously they don't want any dissenting voices, as they see it, or an alternative voice in their parliament. It's not their parliament, it's the people's parliament, and it's for the people to decide who sits in that parliament. And if people are disgusted by these acts of censorship by the Speaker or the presiding officer, they need to exercise their vote in 2026 and make that change happen, because ultimately this is a direct assault on the news, on the Fourth Estate, that hold politicians like myself to account. And you can't pick and choose your favourites. You have to take the rough and tumble. And as I said, going back to your earlier comment, I think the key thing here is there has been precious little comment from the First Minister, from the leader of the Welsh Nationalists, who, if it had been one of their chosen left-wing papers, like the Morning Star, for example, they would have broken down in an emotional breakdown.
Well, you know, as I say, we gave her the chance to come on the show. She said that she wouldn't, but I find it a very, very worrying trend. Now, there are other areas, and I do sort of think, well, I look at what the waiting lists are in Wales for the National Health Service, I look at delivery of other public services in Wales, and you have to ask, and people have voted for devolved government in Wales, but you have to begin to ask whether it's actually working for the Welsh people. But I just wonder, when I see things being banned, when I see blanket speed limits, when I see a health service that is doing even worse than England, I mean, that takes some doing these days, but it is. I wonder, is this the prototype for what a national Labour government would be after the general election next year? That's my concern.
Well, Keir Starmer's on record as saying, for what we would do if we came at the government in Westminster, look to what we're doing in Wales. He actually called it his blueprint for government. 1 in 4 people are on a waiting list here in Wales. 1 in 4. That's a massive number of the population, over 750,000 people. 27,000 of them are waiting 2 years or more. And when I say them, that's all of us. That's people in this room who've come from communities the length and breadth of Wales.
And is that why Mark Drakeford got very upset with you the other week?
He tends to throw his papers around and start shouting a bit. He does, yes. And goes very red in the face.
Well, I have to say, I rather enjoyed watching it.
That's my job.
No, I did, because it reminded me of the response I used to get to European commissioners. But here's the problem, Andrew RT Davies. However badly Labour might be doing in terms of delivering good local government in Wales, and I think most people, even many Labour voters, would agree that it's not working out very, very well, yet another Conservative national member of Parliament, Peter Bone, today, has been suspended for 6 weeks. There'll be another by-election in Wellingborough. They'll probably lose that as well. If you look at the national polls, the Labour Party are simply miles ahead. And they're miles ahead, Andrew, not because people have a huge belief or faith, in my opinion, in Keir Starmer, that we look safe and solid compared to Jeremy Corbyn, but people just think your lot got into office in 2019 with a stonking great majority, didn't really believe what they said, haven't delivered. And it's very difficult, despite whatever's happening in Wales or anywhere else. Do you actually think the Tory party's got a cat's chance in hell next year against Starmer's Labour?
Yes, I do. If we're clear in our message and we stick to our commitments. We've seen that recently with the blanket 20 MPH. When Labour introduced the blanket 20 MPH here in Wales, we had a record number of petition signatories signed up to a Welsh parliamentary petition of 460,000.
Yeah. No, it's amazing.
And so when people know who's at fault and they can hold them to account, they don't like what they can see.
No.
And I think as the closer we get to an election, people will look at the Labour Party, look at their record here in Wales, because it is their blueprint for what they want to do across the rest of the country. But we've got to rise to the challenge as well. And we have to deliver a narrative of how we're going to empower people.
As you say, your message, vote Conservative, and anybody born after 2009 can't buy cigarettes in a shop. Is that the message?
Well, I'm a libertarian at the end of the day, and I believe in choice, informed choice, and it goes back to the opening conversation.
So what is the message?
But the point
what is the message? Why should we vote Conservative next year, Andrew Davies?
Because we're the party on your side that will deliver for you, your family and your community. We'll unleash your potential. No one should be left behind, and ultimately we will stand up and deliver.
The trouble with that is, Labour will be saying exactly the same thing. Andrew, thank you for coming on and giving a very spirited defence of your views.